Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. My hotel. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. This is your sister with the curly braids, Vicki Dillard, and I am live here on my own personal channel at vickydillard.tv. I am so pleased that you are with us today. I'm making the distinction that I'm on my personal channel because, as many of you all know, over the years, I have helped to build prominent platforms, multiple platforms, brands, and businesses over the years. And so some of you all are used to seeing me there. So, of course, I get the question often, where is she? So, dear family, let folks know if they want to see me live, they can see me live weekly on my own channel here at vickydillard.tv. Of course, you will still see me on other platforms and networks as well, but I'm going to be making some programming changes and announcements in the upcoming weeks. Are y'all hearing me today? So on the count of three, would you do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button on the count of three? I see some of you coming on in. Shout out to my beautiful moderator, Coach Johnny B. By the way, family, our moderators are highlighted in blue. They're going to be putting important information in the chat and interacting with you. Talk black to me, so you can always pay attention to that. Vino says, greetings, beautiful goddess. Greetings, beloved. Thank you so much. On the count of three, I want everybody to hit that thumbs up button, would you? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Tony said, finally caught you at the beginning of your live. Love you, beautiful. I love you back. Thank you all so much for tuning in, dear family. Vicki Nation, that is my new well, not new because I've been having it for a while now, but that is my recognized name of Vicki supporters, those that attend my upcoming school, those that are just supporters. I don't care if you tune in, if you're sharing, if you're giving physical gifts, financial donations, if you support Vicki in any real way, beloved, I consider you to be a part of Vicki Nation. Love you all so much, beloved. Family, I'm going to get to where we're going with the quickness. I have been taking care of some appointments over the past week, and I am sure that some of you all met with your families, whether you officially or unofficially celebrate some of the holidays or not. I pray that you are well and in good spirits. Talk black to me, somebody. Thank you so very much. I missed you all. I love you so much. And again, just thank you all so much for your patience. There's been a lot of different changes with my spiritual school, which is going to be now the Vicki Dillard Mystery School. You'll be able to officially register for that for only $40-some a month, family. That's coming up soon. Make sure you're on my email list at vickyplanet.com so that you are notified. You're the first to be notified. By the way, we only have a few copies left. I restricted a very small number of hard copies. The first edition is a special edition. So I did not make all of these available for hard copy. The others that are coming out in a few weeks is going to be my digital magazine of this one. But those of you that's so privileged to get this 16-page luxury black magazine, I decided to do this Venus luxury magazine. It's been in my heart for a very long time, for some years, and it's finally coming into fruition. I decided to do that because I'm making luxury accessible for the everyday woman. Talk black to me, somebody. How many of my sisters out there know that we shouldn't have to be 6, 7, and 8 figures to enjoy luxury? I explained what that is. And so every one of my editions is going to promote that. Talk black to me. This is an absolutely yummy, yummy magazine because every magazine I'm going to be releasing certain sacred, divine, feminine secrets. So back in the day when they had like Isis temples and divine feminine temples, there was certain information that was restricted for just the initiated. And there was certain information that only the divine feminines discussed amongst themselves. Why, sis? Because we are women. We have a womb, which means that we're cosmic in a way that our counterparts aren't. We're automatically and naturally magical because of our womb space, which means that we're meant to manifest differently. A part of the upheaval that we find in our life, a part of the distress and the dissonance that often occurs is because we're trying to manifest like our masculine counterparts. And so every one of these magazines is going to give you some insights. It's going to be like our guided secret society. And I promise to have good information and some yummy pics. So y'all know I'm going to be, y'all know I'm going to have to start doing more photo shoots, which is so foreign to me. But I want to make sure this is accessible. The link is in the chat. Hurry while you can. I don't think you're going to be able to get any more in the next few days because we have already nearly hit our goal. I've got to double check with my team, but we're mostly there. So I'm trying to get in where you fit in. Brothers, you're not off the hook. If you have a lovely lady in your life, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, your daughter, your aunt, your mother, get this for her. I beg your pardon. Get this for the lovely lady in your life. It's an absolutely lovely and precious gift. Now, without further ado, family, I want to get to where we're going with the quickness. How many of you all have ever heard of this Israeli lobby that operates here in the United States of America? And some folks feel like that some of these organizations ought to register as foreign agents if they're not already. Talk black to me. Oh, Lord. Because we're, and not just AIPAC, if they're not already, there are so many entities and organizations that do the bidding of this foreign country that God knows if they were doing the foreign bidding of countries like Uganda, talk black to me, somebody, and Eritrea, if they were doing the bidding of some South American country where the United States has all kinds of sanctions imposed on them, like Cuba and Venezuela, how many of you all know that they would be trying to tell you that they have to register as a foreign agent? God, today. Thank you for your patience while I clear my throat. I see my other moderator, Aquarius 79. She said, hey, Miss Dillard Miles in chat. Hey, beautiful. She's so precious. So family, I won't keep you long today, but I want to really go over this. Now, some of you all know that you all are used to, if you have seen me, I know I've helped to build, like I said, several other large platforms. So you all are used to seeing me other places. My point in bringing that up is because some of you, my day ones, know that I have been discussing the useless bones and biscuits, who is, that's just another term for your useless black politicians, your useless black misleadership class that do an absolutely terrible job at representing the interest of black people. Are y'all hearing me? That's a problem. And I continue to call them out because they continue to work for everybody else but us. And how many of you all know that that's a problem? I said they continue to work for everybody but us, including the Congressional Black Caucus, which I have talked about and given them that everlasting work so many times. Yes? Well, I think that the chickens have come home to roost for these illegitimate organizations that pretend to be pro-black. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a broadcast, and how many of you all saw it? If you haven't seen it, I did it right here on my personal platform. Go under the lives, and you will see where I'm do a broadcast a few weeks ago about members of the Congressional Black Caucus that met with Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, they met with him before Israel's current siege on Gaza. The fact that they're trying to, unalive the entire population based on comments that have come from high-level governmental officials within Israel, based on, most importantly, their actions. How many of you all remember me discussing the fact that before that incident, right, before October 7th, how many of you all know that your president, Jim Crow, Joe Biden, how many of you all know that he was privately beefing with Benjamin Netanyahu, and that even Joe Biden was not was refusing to even meet with him? Did you all know that? Wanda, what a beautiful sister. Thank you so much, precious. Y'all still have not reported to me who pays you all to say these wonderful things. I receive it all. How many of you all remember me discussing that? How many of you all know that at a time when Jim Crow Joe Biden himself, who believes in the American American imperialism, who believes in complete hegemony along with her Western counterparts. Demetria said, you remember me talking about, I asked you all, what was the Black Caucus doing over there in Israel? Now, I asked that not because we're not supposed to be internationally engaged. I am one that believes we must be internationally engaged. Now, all of us are not supposed to be internationally engaged in the same way. Your assignment is not my assignment. And so you may not understand why does Vicki discuss certain issues like that. One thing you can't say is that I have not prioritized my foundational Black Americans. That's what you can't say. What you can't say is that I have been an unequivocal and effective defender of foundational Black Americans. And many of you don't even support me like that. Let's just keep it real. Just keep it real. So God knows you bet not. You bet not. Somebody say that, bet not. I didn't say better not. I said bet not. Bet not is from the dictionary. That's not the dictionary, the dictionary. The dictionary is my book of words. So you bet not fix your lips and say nothing about why am I talking about international stuff when God knows you ain't done nothing for me. On a grassroots level, when I've been your number one defender, baby, for years and years and years amongst a few handful of others. What you don't understand, just pray about and hush up. Now, number one, I've already explained it, not that I have to. I didn't go through what I went through and dealt with high-level federal government officials, state government officials, local government officials, Wall Street governmental officials, and unbelievable spiritual warfare, sickness, illness, and all types of tumult and loss for me to be worried about what some stranger is saying when you don't even understand what I'm doing. But just to help you, I addressed that during my live I did some weeks back with my brother from the UK. We've been doing back-to-back collaborations together. We'll be doing more in the future. Brother Richard Sudan, I discussed it in my interview with him right here on this channel. So just go under the live videos and you can check out that reason because I'm not going to repeat it here. But I'm the mother of civilization. This is our world. The world is in the condition it's in because the original man and woman with our righteous and harmonious spirit are not at the helm. So because you don't get it means you're not supposed to be talking about it. You're not supposed to be talking about it. Do you understand that? I just have to throw that out there because some of you are just acting like you for real partners and like you done did something for Vicki Dillard when you haven't. And you don't get it. When you're not tapped into the ethers, you'll misread what happens on earth. I keep saying that. When you don't have a certain spiritual perspective and when you're not admitted into spiritual councils, there are divine spiritual proceedings, courts that go on. And they're discussing things that are happening on the planet, present and future. You may not understand or know that. Which means you ought not to be talking about it, but don't you come over here questioning me. Sonya said, say it again for the people in the back. Yes, Sonya. Can't wait till I write my little mini book, Home Training. Some of you all don't have mamas and daddies. You say stuff and you do stuff that you ought not. Like even some of you all thinking that you have the right to come to my channel and tell me when to get to my topic. You better get your funny looking self off my channel. My magic works in unprecedented ways because I do it the way I do it. You say stuff like that out loud, grown-ups. You needed a mama and a daddy in your life to check your funny looking self, to tell you there's a such thing as restraint and discipline. Shut your mouth. You can feel that way, but you keep it to yourself, silly. You flip the channel, silly. I'm a 44-year-old grown woman from Mississippi, so I'm going to have to mother y'all digitally because you out of your mind. And the more you run your mouth, I'll take 45 minutes to even start on the first sentence if I want to. With your unmagical self. And again, I see other people running their own channels the way they do. They don't get to the topic right away. And I promise you, you wouldn't say that to them. You feel a little too comfortable with me. Keep telling you I'm more than just a YouTuber. Now get on, Vicki. Now, this Times of Israel. Publication from the Times of Israel. I pulled up this heading. They did this early in September. This was a piece that they wrote, but I read to you all when I did my broadcast a few weeks ago from another publication, I believe. But I wanted to just pull up a headline so that I can remind you of what happened. That's what I said, just me. Just me said unmagical behind. Yes, they unmagical, honey. Just unmagical. Shoot. Now, look at their funny looking self. Y'all know I posted this picture because this is the one that was mostly available for the public. Look at the Congressional Black Caucus sitting over there meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, I wouldn't have any problems with them meeting with him if they dealt with Black issues in America. But God knows I don't want to see your funny looking self hop, skipping, and jumping over there in Israel when I haven't heard one statement pro-Black that's come out of your mouth in terms of effectively. So no, I don't want to see you over there when you've done nothing for us over here. That's the picture. Somebody commented when I showed them some weeks ago, when I did that broadcast some weeks ago, somebody said they look scared, don't they? They look real scared. They do look scared. Talk Black to me. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. What's the purpose of today's broadcast? Well, everybody is tripping out now because y'all know that Joe Biden's numbers continue to plummet. They were scared to death anyway, been sounding the alarm for God knows how long because his most faithful voting bloc, which is us, the threat from his most faithful constituency, Black folks, has drastically dropped. They have been doing outreach to Black folks, but ineffective outreach. There's nothing but superficial stuff that do not include tangibles. It says nothing about reparations. It says nothing about substantive protective laws. It says nothing about economic programs that specifically addressed and directed to us. They're doing everything for everybody else but us, right? So they're scared to death and they're nervous because the polls consistently show that they're losing us. Now with Israel's war and siege against Gaza, now Biden's polls, the polls have dropped even more amongst not only Blacks, but other people, and especially among the youth between, I think, like ages 18 to about 34, 35. So they're really, 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 really nervous. Well, The Intercept just did this piece, among others. And here's the headline. Y'all know I like for you to see the headlines because I don't want you thinking I'm making up nothing. Look at the headlines. Y'all see it? Somebody said, no, they didn't know that Jim Crow Joe wouldn't meet with Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm glad you brought that back up. I should remind you all that before Hamas defended themselves by responding to Israel's years-long violent stuff, to which the Israelis don't care. They still murdered them even more. And so the moment they did something effective in terms of something violent to defend and protect themselves, then all of a sudden the whole world is talking about it now. And the reason why the world will call them terrorist family, which we should know this, number one, the world isn't calling them terrorists. You all do know that it's only the United States and maybe one or two other white countries that really deems Hamas as terrorists. I should say a small handful of other countries that deems them as terrorists. A large majority part of the world do not deem Hamas as terrorists. Hamas is a legit political party that has a militant portion of their group. And Hamas was democratically voted for by the Palestinian people. So your government and other white Western governments don't like who Palestinians choose. So you all know here in America, when Dr. King, who was nonviolent, used his mouth as a sword, they called him a terrorist, basically. They didn't like Dr. King. They didn't like Fannie Lou Hamer. Talk black to me, somebody. They called Assata Shakur, they put her on the most wanted. Our sister is in her 70s, and she's still in Cuba because she had to flee to Cuba after the United States tortured her, lied on her, set her up for murder. They couldn't win any of the other cases, trumped up cases against her, so they finally got one to stick. They put her in the men's prison. They tortured her in the men's prison. And some of the brothers and maybe sisters, who to this day we still don't know, with the Black Liberation Army, they didn't kill one person, but they went into the prison under arms and they took her out and made sure she safely got to Cuba. And she's been there for how many years? 40, 50 years, if not longer. Anybody that speaks against injustice, that's who your government calls a terrorist. So don't be silly and ignorant. Darlene said, imagine putting her in the men's prison. Yeah, put her in the men's prison. And you know they tried to kill her on multiple occasions. They tortured her. Our brothers and sisters were so discreet, they got her out of prison. They busted her out of prison. And the United States was so humiliated. They couldn't believe these Negroes successfully got her out, and they couldn't figure out who did it. They didn't murder not one person to do it, and they successfully got her to another country. They called Assata Shakur a terrorist. But the people of the United States tend to call terrorists. We know darn well from firsthand experience are freedom fighters. That's right, Fareed Muhammad. Everybody hit that thumbs up button, please, beloved. Thumbs up, share, share, share. So watch this. Here's the headline again, because this is the one I'm fixing to read from very quickly. Watch this. About AIPAC, right? The headline says, AIPAC targets Black Democrats while the Congressional Black Caucus stays silent. Now, I looked up the writer of this piece, Akilah Lacey. She's a white-looking woman. So whenever you see white folks go to sounding the alarm that a Black so-called organization like the CBC is staying silent while AIPAC is attacking Black folks, you know that that Black organization must help white folks more. Did y'all catch what I just said? Anytime white folks are calling out so-called Black organizations like the CBC, you know that so-called Black organization must be benefiting white folks. White folks gonna try their best to protect their biscuits. And let's call them the pending biscuits. God, to take and they throw some of the other ones out. That's proved to be useless. If there's still a hope that a biscuit or two can do something for them, they're gonna run out there and say, don't touch them. Talk black to me, somebody. Vicki Reed. Public Affairs Committee, by the way, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, that's the official name. Their shorthand, the acronym AIPAC. That's what AIPAC is for, family, okay? The American Israel Public Affairs Committee. There's a lobbyist organization. This piece says the country's most influential pro-Israel lobbying group is recruiting candidates to challenge progressive members of the Congressional Black Caucus in primaries next year. Are y'all listening? The CBC, she gets right to it. See, this lady didn't wait 16 paragraphs down. Second paragraph, she gets to it. The CBC has been silent on the AIPAC bid to challenge at least 3 of its members who are part of the so-called squad, a loose group of progressive representatives. According to the media reports and the Intercept's investigation, the only incumbents AIPAC has targeted so far in this election cycle are CBC members. So even though they believe that AIPAC is going to challenge others, Intercept says that the only ones that they have officially started to target are CBC members, Congressional Black Caucus members. Now, I asked the question, and to be honest, on this title, I guess I just made the statement. I'm saying it's good. And I'm saying, should we care that this American Israeli lobby is targeting Congressional Black Caucus members? Do you think I would be asking that question and making that statement if the Congressional Black Caucus was pushing for reparations in a substantive and real way for Black folks? Do you all think I would be making that statement for if there was this Black organization stood for us, that used their bully pulpit to push us and to engage us? Do y'all think I would be saying that? My reflex, my nature, just automatically without even thinking, is to defend Black people. It's when you show yourself to be an enemy that you get treated like one. And over so many years, we have been calling out this useless organization for being silent on substantive Black issues. And now that they're under attack, what's it to us? Because you wasn't doing nothing for us anyway. Is that right? That's right, Aquarius. Watch this. The CBC's silence. Now, this is the 3rd paragraph. And again, she starts that paragraph talking about the CBC's silence. They scared to death, y'all. The CBC's silence on the Electoral College challenges reflects the divide among Democrats on Israel, with progressives increasingly willing to buck Capitol Hill orthodoxies and speak up for Palestinian rights and fundraising dynamics among caucus members. AIPAC has endorsed more than half of CBC members. Did y'all hear what I just said right there? AIPAC, that American Israel Public Affairs Committee, they've already endorsed half of Congressional Black Caucus. And most of us that's intelligent have rejected about 100% of them. That tells us everything we need to know right there, right? AIPAC has endorsed more than half of CBC members. The AIPAC-backed members of the caucus, some 31 lawmakers, have received previously unreported total, y'all listening, of at least $3.6 million from AIPAC since February 2022. According to Federal Elections Commission's records. I'm going to say that again. The AIPAC-backed members of the caucus, the Black CBC members that have the support of AIPAC, some 31 lawmakers, it says, have received a previously unreported total of at least $3.6 million. I'm going to say it again. They've received a previously unreported total of at least $3.6 million. Now, Black family, how many of you all remember your sister with the curly braids? When I was on a lot of these other platforms. Tell her, Miss Sharice. Miss Sharice called it unreported. Watch this. How many of y'all remember a long time ago when COVID, we were finally getting some of the reports on COVID because it took them a minute. They didn't tell us these things until later, and we had to dig to find it. How many of y'all remember that I did a broadcast on reports that came out that showed Black lawmakers who were pushing the shots? Remember, they received tons of money that was unreported. How many of y'all remember your sister with the curly braids reporting that? I didn't report that in the beginning of COVID because it was secret. How many of you all know, probably last year by now, I guess it was, I don't know when it was, but it was a long time ago. Long after COVID originally started, I reported, Kimberly already said, I remember. How many of y'all remember that your Black lawmakers kept that secret too? Some of them, that they received money to push those shots. Talk Black to me, somebody. They acting the same way here. Watch this. Watch this. The silence has given rise to calls for the CBC to speak up for members under attack, especially given AIPAC's propensity for directing Republican money to challenge incumbent progressive Democrats in primaries. Now, you all know I have not read you this long article. Just in the 3 paragraphs that I have addressed, that I've delineated to you, you've heard me say at least 3 times, you've heard the phrase, their silence, or something to that effect, right? The writer of this article is pushing something, and they're trying to put pressure on the CBC, this white woman. Well, I say white-looking woman. But based on the stuff I looked up before I came on here, she looks all the way that to me. AIPAC and its Republican donors are intentionally targeting progressive members of the Congressional Black Caucus with right-wing primary challenges, said Alexandra Rojas, the executive director of Justice Democrats, which backed all 5 CBC members from the squad. The CBC and every caucus in Congress has the opportunity now to demonstrate their power. Let me tell you something. Another reason y'all probably saying, Vicki, why are you sitting here not only saying, why should we care about the CBC, but they don't do nothing for Black folks in America? Another member of the squad who's not Black, Ocasio-Cortez, who's supposed to be a Hispanic ally of Black folks, right? How many of you all know she was trying to justify other people groups getting reparations? Talk Black to me, somebody. How many of you all know, I think she go by AOC for short, this supposedly Hispanic ally of Black folks, when asked about reparations, was hostile, and then she turned around and tried to figure out a way for other folks to get reparations after being hostile toward us getting it. Family, I believe in international, speaking up for international issues, geopolitical issues, which I do. I'm specifically talking about Congressional Black Caucus of the United States. They exist allegedly to speak on Black issues, but they speak for immigrants, they speak for illegal immigrants, they speak for Joe Biden stuff, and they hop, skipping, and jumping over there to Israel to meet with Netanyahu, when even Joe Biden himself, before the 7th, wasn't even meeting with him. Now, some of you may be saying, well, why wasn't Joe Biden meeting with Netanyahu, their number one Democrat ally over there in the Middle East? Because Netanyahu is under 3 criminal trials right now. And his whole country, a large portion of it, I should say, has been demonstrating against him for many, many months. Literally hundreds of thousands of people coming out on a regular basis. Some of the people that have been leading the large protests in Israel before this incident were military leaders. Some of his top brass stepped down because they said that in order to save himself from prison in case he's convicted in these criminal cases, Netanyahu was willing to make mischief with the Supreme Court there in Israel, which would give his cronies authority in a so-called democracy. So they would basically be able to override and overrule any decisions from the opposition that would basically save him from prison. Mainstream media was not consistently reporting it, but I was intermittently talking about it on my broadcast. And I was saying, why is it that mainstream media isn't discussing the fact that there's so-called only democracy in the Middle East? They're calling him a dictator, his own people. And they want him out. And they said that he's trying to undo the entire country. and that every single week they were meeting by the hundreds of thousands to get him out. Somebody just said they remember that. So Joe Biden was trying to put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu because Joe Biden could not keep justifying the stuff that he was doing with the courts. Joe Biden couldn't keep justifying all these criminal cases that keep piling up against him. Joe Biden couldn't justify the fact that people in the high level of government in Israel was coming out against him. So Joe Biden was privately, quietly trying to protest him by not meeting with him. But they weren't blasting it all over the news. So, like your sick, disgusting bones and biscuits, what did some of your black congressional caucus members do? Remember the headline from the Times of Israel. Remember, this took place before the war started a month ago. Right before it. The headline says, Netanyahu meets visiting Black Jewish caucus to boost ties with Biden and the Democrats. So even racist Jim Crow Joe Biden and some of the Democrat Party started to sour with Netanyahu, trying to force him to stand down so that America could justify why she still supports what some consider to be the #1 terrorist state over there in the Middle East. Joe Biden didn't come out publicly, but privately they kept putting pressure on him because he kept piling up criminal cases against him. What you gonna do when your government don't want you? What you gonna do when former military folks don't want you? Joe Biden had to figure out ways to justify calling them a democracy when he's attacking the Supreme Court. Israel is not a large state. So when you have hundreds of thousands of people coming out every week, that is a very large chunk of your population. These weren't the Palestinians. This wasn't Turkey. This wasn't Iran. This wasn't Hamas or Hezbollah. These were Israelis. His own people said, get out. And they were calling him a dictator. And mainstream media kept it quiet. And so Joe Biden was quietly he was using not having a formal meeting with him to force Netanyahu to stop this or to switch up to slow him down from destroying Israel, basically. Because the United States, they got to have a veneer to justify their support. But Israel goes to extremes, just like they're going to extremes and murdering those people. So now the United States is doing backflips and trying to show support for them. But the world is putting so much pressure on them, they're trying to figure out a way out of it because Israel doesn't even know how to keep the veneer up. So then, look at this. I'll read you a little bit of it. Keep that picture in mind with their scary self. Watch this. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with 10 members of the Congressional Black Caucus as he tries to improve his standing with the Biden administration among Democrats. The meeting Sunday in Jerusalem was part of a visit sponsored in part by the American Israel Education Foundation, an affiliate. Y'all ready? An affiliate. Y'all ready for this next part? An affiliate of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. I'm talking to a class of several hundred right now. Class, who is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee? Yes, our moderator said, y'all hit that thumbs up button and share. Thank you all so much. We want to let everybody know they're used to seeing me on other platforms. We want to let everybody know they can watch me here live on my own platform each week. Family, tell me, class, who is it? Family, I asked y'all a question. Where my students at? We in class now. Remember, I told you This took place before the 7th. This piece came out September 3rd, and the members met with him that Sunday. Thank you, MD Van, AIPAC. I'm going to read this again because I want y'all to miss this. The meeting Sunday in Jerusalem was part of a visit sponsored in part by the American Israel Education Foundation, an affiliate of what? The American Israel Public Affairs Committee, otherwise known as AIPAC. So you got your funny looking Congressional Black Caucus galloping over to Israel at the beck and call of Netanyahu at a time when chief racist Jim Crow Joe wouldn't even meet with them. The Congressional Black Caucus, who we have been demanding speak for reparations, push for pro-Black policies, have remained silent for us, but very loud and boisterous for everybody else. They hopped their funny-looking selves on a plane to go over there for Israel. Watch this. What else have I taught you about what some of the Israeli officials have done? Haven't I taught you that members of the Mossad from Israel are responsible for training some of the police in the United States, who are responsible, some have said and shown credible evidence that some of the maneuvers that they taught police are those that can be attributed to oppressive techniques that they use on Black Americans? Haven't I told you that not only have Israelis, former Mossad members and others have come over here to train police, but that even police travel to Israel for training? How many of you all remember years ago I discussed this? A few months ago I discussed this. A few weeks I discussed this. What did Vicki discuss? What did Vicki discuss? On multiple occasions. Let's see if I can find the clip. Let's see if I can find the clip. What did Vicki discuss on numerous occasions?
Of the Israeli government holding a private convention here in the United States.
This is one that was on TikTok.
In attendance of this secret meeting.
Judith Varney Shore. This is the first one that popped up, so I'm just playing it. Watch this. How many of y'all remember her saying this? Wait a minute. Where is it? Come on now. Y'all give me 1 second so I can get the volume up. Judith Varney Shore. This clip is not playing like I wanted to. This Israeli leader said that it's a young generation in America, the Black young generations in America, that's a threat to Israel.
Is with the young generation of the Black community. The problem of Israel is with the young generation of the Black community.
Did y'all hear that? The major problem with Israel.
Generation of the young generation of the Black community. The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the Black community. The problem of Israel is with the young generation of the Black community. Black is with the young generation of the Black community.
Now, I discussed that years ago. I discussed it a few months ago on a couple of platforms, and I discussed it a few weeks ago. I brought it back up, even though we had the discussion a few years ago, because I felt like enough attention wasn't being given to it. Why am I bringing that up now? Has the Congressional Black Caucus condemned Israel for those anti-Black statements? Has your Black Congressional Caucus demanded Israel to give an explanation as to what they meant by that? Why is it that Joe Biden and all of Congress, all of the cabinet, why didn't they issue a statement and say that they considered that to be an act of war from Israel when they said that the black youth who were supposed to be American citizens are a threat to Israel? Why in the hell are we sending almost $4 billion every year to these folks, and we sent them even more billions? Do you know that if Hamas or Hezbollah were caught on camera, and they're not even the full government of Palestine, they're not even the full government of any nation, but can you imagine if another country that's hostile to the United States had said that a large portion of their population are a threat to them? The Congressional Black Caucus, what have they done? Hakeem Jeffries' funny-looking self, what has he done? Except for use rap lyrics, because he's so happy he's from New York and glad to be in the Congress around white folks who are mostly Republican. Gregory Meeks' funny-looking self, he's on the Foreign Affairs Committee. They're licking the behinds of the Israelis and the Zionists. Who could get away? What other people group, what other so-called terrorist group could get away with saying a large portion of the population of the United States is a threat to another country and nobody says nothing? Can y'all tag Kareem Jean-Pierre, your LGBTQ Haitian press secretary, and ask her what does she have to say about this? Tag Joy Reid and your black bootlicks in mainstream media and ask them what are their thoughts about an Israeli consul official, former Israeli consul official, saying that young black Americans are a threat to Israel. Hell, it's no wonder they murdering all of the Palestinians that are babies over there, because half the population in Palestine are children. If they said years ago that black youth are a threat to their country, I want you all to write your Congress people. Tag them, email them, type up a letter. I'm giving you a call to action. I'm saying to you all, I don't care what color they are, not only the CBC, but write your House of Representatives within your demographic and your senators of your state, the senators for your state. You need to be writing them and asking them what the hell did they do in response to a high-level consul government official in Israel that said black youth are a threat. Do you all know I've been watching footage of a meeting that Israel had where they specifically were doing a strategy meeting where they said that their targets, their 3 targets, were the Hispanics, blacks, and LGBTQ folks. And in that meeting, guess what they did? They talked about, one particular person in particular said how the biggest focus was on black folks. The bulk of their time spent on black folks. And they were in this meeting giving specifics on how they strategized. And do you all know that that meeting is from 2016? Just like the clip I just showed you just now, that setting. You can act like you don't want to engage in global issues if you want to, but around the world, they're meeting about you. She's out of Atlanta, the consul out of Atlanta, but the point is she represents her government. And their embassies and their offices around the world got black folks on their minds from America. You ought to want to know why. I got to go, but I'm going to get to the point, which I've already gotten to. And my question was what? Should we care? Hell no, we shouldn't care about the Congressional Black Caucus. Why? Because when you show yourself to be an enemy against black folks, you get what you get. You are not a legitimate organization for Black folks. The Congressional Black Caucus has refused to do anything substantive for Black folks. They try to trick you into all these studies, which are useless. They're very demonstrative voice for LGBTQ, legal immigration, illegal immigration, and everybody else. But not for what we tell them. So what's it to us if they get ready to lose their position? Let me say something to you too. Some of the Black folks that are now being censored because they're speaking up for Palestine, and I have respect for those that speak up for that injustice. I think it's important. But don't you find it strange that they still not respecting we, the Black grassroots? Don't y'all find it strange that folks like Minister Farrakhan has been talking about this for many decades? They're not giving him no credit for that. They're not trying to be allies with him on the fact that he was standing against these predatory voices and calling this kind of stuff out. To a degree, they're still just trying to stand with respectable Black folks that they still know that they can still parlay their influence for some mainstream media job down the road. Sankofa said, I'm speaking for Congo. I spoke for Congo, the DRC, and throughout the African continent. If you don't know, now you know. Follow my community page here because I often put links to African Diaspora News Channel where I do geopolitical content that some of you have complained about. Not only that, I give to international organizations. I said Vicki Dillard is uncheckable. That's new for some of you because you ain't been following my work. And as I said before, you don't give me the kind of respect that you give to others. And no, my message is not just on one platform. Ms. Cherie said they are coward slaves who are sold to the highest bidders. What you say? Somebody said, and college Black students need a different view. Yes, so send this to the college students as well. Talk Black to me. AIPAC. Fam, let me show you something with AIPAC. I just want you to just want to read this one part. That's it. From their website. This is from their website. We are more than 3 million pro-Israel Americans from every congressional district who are working to strengthen the bipartisan support for the U.S.-Israel relationship. We encourage the U.S. government to enact specific policies that create strong, enduring, and mutually beneficial relationship with our ally, Israel. We stand with those who stand with Israel. The AIPAC PAC is a bipartisan pro-Israel political action committee. It is the largest pro-Israel PAC in America and contributed more resources directly to candidates than any PAC. 98% of AIPAC-backed candidates won their general election races in 2022. I'm going to read you what their website said again. They said 98% of AIPAC-backed candidates won their general election races in 2022. Do you all understand now why they're claiming they're going to spend $100 million to unseat certain Congress folks, beginning with Black folk? Exactly, Ace. Ace said foreign agents. Watch this. I know that's right, Mama D. Mama D said, I stand with those that stand with us. Talk Black to me, Mama D. Listen. Watch this. Why am I bringing this up? How many of you all have watched my broadcast for any length of time, whether it was here on my platform that I've been giving more attention to, Restore? You've seen me on some other platform. I've been consistent over the years, is my point. That's why I always reference the work I've done on other platforms, because you all know I'm not new to this. What am I talking about? How many of you remember me referencing Dr. Claude Anderson's book on numerous occasions? Didn't Dr. Claude tell us the importance of not getting involved substantively in politics until we have enough money to buy a politician? How many of you all know Jimmy Carter appointed Dr. Claude to a government position in the Commerce Department? And it was Dr. Claude that was responsible for, I think, directing about 37%. I think that number is right. About 37% of the contracts to Black folks. How many of you all know that Dr. Claude has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of his own money to give us a type of reparations in court related to treaties? Because he said that the native treaties actually have to do with provisions for Black folks. How many of you all know that Dr. Claude ran state elections, ran state campaigns, and was successful? When you're dealing with a man on his level that has insight and understands the inside of government and is for reparations, and telling you that his assessment is, don't get involved substantively in politics until you can buy you a candidate, he was making the point that you're going to have to put money into it. And this is what I'm bringing back to you, family. When you have an agenda, you got to be ready to make your war chest fat. I'm going to keep saying that. When you have Black grassroots media folks like myself that's speaking to things related to you, you've got to be willing to support those individuals and not complain and act like you viewing one broadcast on YouTube is doing something. Dr. Clark been called out the CBC types. He's been calling out Black useless politicians. So am I worried about this Israel American lobby committee threatening to spend $100 million? And they said that in 2022, 98% of those candidates that they backed won their election. Heck no, I ain't. I want us to put this in the face of the CBC to tell them that when they come up against opposition, like AIPAC, they could have the wind, they could have their wings. We could be the wind beneath their wings if they was really about Black issues. But because they're not, what do we look like supporting a group of people who only work for white supremacy and everybody but us? We said the chickens have come home to roost for y'all. My name is Vicki Dillard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Beloved, all of you all who continue to give to my Cash App and PayPal, I'm telling you all have been giving so often. I thank you so much, because when you make sure that I'm good, you make broadcasts like this, information like this, and other behind the scenes work I'm doing possible. Thank you so much. Beloved, I want you to know that it is such a privilege to come before you, and I never take for granted those of you who tune in, those of you who comment, who subscribe, who share, those of you who watch me here and on other platforms and places, those of you who are connected to my school by my products and services, those who tell other folks about me. I could never thank you enough. And all of your gifts are blessed 1,000-fold. Yes, Coach Donnie, that's right. He said, thank you, family, for joining. Yes, I never take that for granted. I want you to know that you hold a very special place in my heart, and it's an extraordinarily high privilege to speak on behalf of my people. And we're just getting started. For those of you that haven't already, I literally only have a few of these special edition hard copy luxury magazines left. Brothers, you get this for the lovely lady in your life. They will appreciate you for it. The link is in the chat. Even when I click off, all you have to do is click back on and you'll still see the link posted, or go to my website at vickiplanet.com. For those of you who are former students of Club Vicki, some of you are telling me all kind of stuff about Club Vicki. I'm going to be making a statement about that when I'm released to do so legally. I'm still waiting for my legal team to handle some stuff behind the scenes, but I am not connected to Club Vicki, although all of it is my magic. All of it is my teachings. Some of you have told me certain things are still going on where your money is being taken, all that. I have no access to all of that stuff. People, and I'm not even supposed to be saying really this much right now. So you ought to know what to do with your own money. Talk black to me. So my school, where I'm going to be doing my own monthly mastermind, is going to be the Vicki Dillard Mystery School. I'm going to be doing it under my own, by myself, in the upcoming weeks. So make sure that you join my email list at vickiplanet.com so that you're first notified when it goes live in a few days. Miss Cherie said, I purchased my copy, family. Join me. Yes, you're going to love it. This is going to change the game, because the information I'm sharing is about specific manifestation techniques for the divine feminine. And how many of you all know when I share this information, do you know that Spirit downloads more information? And it's going to be our Goddess Secret Society for the girls. And I'm so honored to share it with you. I love you so much. I'm your sister with the curly braids. I can't wait to see you again.